In some cultures, to expose the soles of your feet would be a very great insult, and some of the smallest things can really take down a business, a potential business relationship with someone from another country.
Now, I want you at home to know that right before we went on the air, and I sit, we can have a wide shot here, I sit with my legs crossed like this all the time. And so Karen was saying, okay, Elizabeth, you don't want to do this, at least for this show, because why not?
Well, it's considered by internationals as bad breeding and rude, and sends a very bad message. You should not cross your legs, even ladies, with the leg over your knee. And it's an often more comfortable position for us. But if I was coaching you or briefing you on doing business internationally, I would tell you to be very careful about that and be attentive to it.
And why is it a sign of bad breeding? Which I will now uncross my legs and do the whole rest of the show with my legs side by side with my ankles crossed.
Yes,
that's the way
your ankles are crossed.
Okay.
And because often you do expose the soles of your feet when you cross your legs.
Oh, okay.
So that's a risk. But this is really a more modest position also. Mm-hmm. So you need to keep your knees together, and if you sort of angle your legs back with your ankles crossed, it really does give a better impression.
Let's talk introductions.
Yes.
What is the right way to do it, and how? I think just in talking to you, so many rules.
I would certainly do a briefing, and part of the briefing would include the proper way to meet and greet both genders in your target country. So in South Korea, for instance, even if the South Korean businessman and his wife were in the United States, I would suggest that the American businessman would not offer his hand to the South Korean woman. He would only nod and when he was introduced to her.
What about kissing? Men kissing men, which is done in some cultures. Do we as Americans partake in that?
You have to be prepared for it. For instance, in France, you might a man may encounter getting kissed on both cheeks by a French woman, and it would be in a professional situation. And also in other countries in the Arab countries, men hold hands. And there was a picture some years ago of George W. Bush holding hands with an Arab man, and they actually walked down the street holding hands like men and women, husbands and wives or couples do here.
Would American men be expected to kiss on both cheeks if they're meeting someone, say, from France or other countries that do so?
Sometimes they would be, yes. Mm-hmm.
And what are the words that people use when introducing people? Do they say the same thing, such as, hello, this is Karen Hickman. She is a protocol consultant. Karen, and we have a formula here. What kind of formula exists with internationals?
Well, the formula is basically the same as far as the most important person's name is said first, but you also want to be sensitive to balancing the introduction. And international people are much more formal than Americans. So you would want to introduce people with honorifics, and by that I mean I would say, if I was introducing you to somebody, I would say this is Ms. Elizabeth Nulf MacDonald, and she is a communications coach in the United States. But also you would not presume to call the people that you're meeting by their first name until you are invited to do so.
And the honorific, just to define it, is the word put in front of the name.
The honorific is the acronym or the abbreviation that we put in front of all of our names: Mr., Mrs., Ms., Miss, Doctor,